Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk About Singing. My name is Marco. I'm a singer, songwriter, voice teacher from Italy, living in New York City. We are here today with another reaction and vocal analysis. Raye just released a new song called Nightingale Lane, and she performed it live at Abbey Road Studios, and I just can't wait to listen to it. I think Raye is definitely one of the best singers of our generation. She always delivers incredible vocal performances. And I mean, the Abbey Road Studios with a full orchestra and a choir, this is going to be great.
This is a song about the greatest heartbreak I've ever known. The song is called Nightingale Lane. On the street, in the South London suburbs, where my first love kissed me goodbye.
So good.
His lips were thin, and tear-stained, was a pain that made me cold and numb. Up at the oceans I cried, I made of steel, just like
The first thing that comes to mind here is how vintage everything sounds. From the 6/8 tempo to the sound of the drums to her delivery, everything sounds like a traditional rhythm and blues song. This could be a song by Aretha Franklin or Etta James or Otis Redding, something that came out in the 60s. A very interesting element right away is the presence of this like talkative parts. There are some parts where she sounds like she's talking and not really following the tempo and kind of like speeding up the words, and this is also a very typical element of traditional R&B. Her dynamics are already flawless. I love how she ends the phrases with that little right jazzy inflection, but sometimes she alternates that with literally speaking, and so there's already like a variety of elements even in these first few lines.
I drive down this road I never live. I drive slow, I let it go now. Just see a ghost town.
Another interesting element that is very typical of traditional R&B is the presence of call and response, right? She says one phrase and then the background vocals repeat that phrase. This used to happen a lot in traditional R&B. Think about, I don't know, Aretha Franklin, right? Think about Natural Woman when she says, "What you've done to me, what you've done to me. You make me feel so good inside." Right? So this sort of like echo response that the choir or the background vocalists do to the lead vocals.
Ghost town when sometimes and red lights with closed eyes. Tell myself, let myself to go on, just saying. Somebody loved me once. Somebody will again. Like the way you love me.
Oh.
Nightingale Lane. Although we never made it, stranger, you showed me it's true. Capable of loving someone the way I love you was right there.
Hey.
And you,
Mm.
that's the old Park Avenue, standing in the rain.
That rallentando before the chorus is great. Rallentando means when the tempo of the song actually slows down. It creates such an anticipation for the chorus. Check this out.
Tell myself, let myself to go on, just saying.
Ah,
Somebody loved me once.
I have not heard rallentando in mainstream pop contemporary music. I don't know. I don't even know when was the last time I heard that. It's kind of like an old-fashioned thing as well. So she is definitely prone to use vintage sounds and vintage stylistic choices. But did you feel how that sudden slowing down of the tempo makes you like keeps you on edge and keeps you waiting for what's about to come, and then she goes nah nah and say it, and then she just kicks the vocals of the chorus in, and it just hits you right at the heart. It's great. It's a great choice. Again, in this chorus, we have parts where she's almost talking, right? And speeding up the tempo and just not really staying on it. And again, this is very bluesy, classic rhythm and blues This chorus is already pretty high. She's hitting notes as high as D5. It revolves around B flat 4, but I mean, Raye has a very, very high voice, but she's already going for those high notes in the 5th octave. This choice of using this like speaking style, it's so effective when it comes to communication. It really feels like she's telling a story. It really feels like she's opening up her heart and letting everything out and just telling you straight to your face instead of just singing it in a embellished way, even though she does that too. But like that contrast really makes the communication of the song and the vocal delivery way more powerful. Mhm.
Took me long, hard years to get over you. It was an aching I refused to feel again.
Mm.
And looking back now, we never were quite right for each other, baby. But in the absence of passion in my life, I remember how alive love once was.
In the second verse, we go back to a softer dynamic. So we had a crescendo and then now a decrescendo. Pay attention to how dramatic her interpretation is. There are some phrases where she really enhances the pain and the suffering of what she's saying.
And looking back now, we never were quite right for each other, baby.
Did you hear those little sobs on "We never were quite right for each other, baby"? She's really emphasizing the feeling behind the lyrics, and she is exaggerating it a little bit, but just enough not to sound too theatrical. It doesn't sound acted, it sounds just heartfelt. There are so many different vocal deliveries here. She's really going with the flow in terms of not necessarily sounding pretty all the time, but just relying on what she's saying and changing the sound of her voice based on the phrase, which is very important. It's something that I really tell my students all the time. Make every line count. Don't forget the meaning behind every single word you sing. Every word is important, every line is important, and every word and every line have their own feeling and their own interpretation. And if you really dig deep into your emotion to communicate the story and deliver the story with real feelings, then your vocal delivery will be enhanced. Whew. Technically speaking, one thing that I would really pay attention to here is how much she opens her mouth. Of course, it makes sense to open your mouth wide when you go towards the higher notes, but if you notice here, she's opening pretty wide throughout the song. This helps in many ways. It helps with enunciation, which I would say her enunciation is absolutely flawless, but it also throughout the song keeps the larynx down, prevents tension from happening even on the lower parts, because sometimes we might think that lower notes are not affected by tension, but they are. And it helps with also kind of like shaping the sounds in different ways, right? If she opens more, she is freer to choose registers or to choose a certain delivery instead of another. And one thing that I would say is when she goes pretty high, you can see that there is a vertical opening, but then there's also a horizontal one. You can see her teeth, right? She's going like this. And this helps with the type of sound that she wants to achieve. The vertical shapes keep the larynx down and make sure that the sound comes out full and powerful. And then the horizontal adds that brightness, that special high resonance, and even a little bit of that nasality, that metallic sound that is very typical of R&B and soul music. This is an exercise that I actually encourage my students to do all the time. Move your mouth in any possible way. Choose a vowel and try to pronounce this vowel in so many different ways without thinking too much, right? More vertical, more horizontal, more combining the different positions, and see how much the shape of your mouth will change the sound of your vowel and which is the sound that you are looking for and what shape is needed to achieve that sound. Before we continue, I want to remind you that if you want to book a free consultation, coaching session, voice class with me online, all you have to do is send me an email at letstalkaboutsinging84@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at Let's Talk About Singing or at perfectmark.music, where you can also listen to my original music and you can watch me perform. And I'd love to have your opinion on that too. All my links are in the description of this video, so just click on them and let's work together. Again. Hey! Oof. Oh my god, this song is just a roller coaster of emotion and a vocal roller coaster too. She is back to hitting D5, and sometimes she hits it with a more supported sound, and sometimes it feels like she's just shouting the notes out loud just to give it more power and a more painful delivery. I love her placement. She is so resonant up here, but at the same time, she's giving such a variety of sounds. She is such a versatile singer. She has so much awareness and control of her voice. She's going all over the place in the best possible way. Different registers, lots of dynamics, agility. She goes up and down doing those runs so precisely. Everything is so controlled, and at the same time she is very, very focused on the interpretation. She is never compromising the emotional part in favor of the technical, but she is giving us both at the same time.
Dabbled in love since maybe every other summer. They never last long.
Yes.
They never stick around.
Yeah.
I'm made of steel now. I believe someday someone gon' come along and knock them walls down. And knock them walls down.
Ah.
When
I love how she chose to squeeze her voice when she says and knock them walls down. Did you notice that? And knock them walls down, right? She is really like using nasality, and I love that. This is also very typical of traditional rhythm and blues music. She sounds like Etta James here, right? This like talking and then kind of just throwing her voice out there without worrying about sounding too polished, because this is not what the song is about. It's not about perfect execution all the time. Sometimes you can willingly choose a ugly sound in favor of a certain delivery if this sound is not exactly precise or polished or pretty or warm or resonant the way the traditional way would want it to be. It's okay if it makes people feel something, right? See what a pro she is. She can choose whether she wants to embellish the sound or whether she actually wants to make it sound worse but better when it comes to like delivering the message. And knock them walls down. Ooh, so good. I loved it.
I've let him go now, right here in this ghost town, right here on this ground is where someone once loved me.
What?
Someday, someone will. Someone will come and find me there. I know it, I know it, I know it. Someone will.
Oh no, she drops it just like that. What was that classical operatic sound when she said right here in this ghost town? All of a sudden she turned into a classical singer and everything went operatic and classical. That was great. Oh my god, her head voice was perfect. It was flawless.
On this ground is where someone once loved me. Someday, someone will.
What? Even the arrangement went totally classical for a second, right? First of all, this full orchestra arrangement with this choir. Oh my god, it's just so epic and it adds so much drama to the whole performance as if her delivery was not dramatic enough. And then on that big note again, oh, she goes from B flat 4 to E flat 5, very high. And she does it with a glissando. Glissando is when you connect two notes sliding between them. And then she goes completely off there and she sings all those like C5s, you know, just like going for it, not worrying about anything, just pouring her heart into the performance and belting like crazy. Love it. I love how we went from like all of a sudden I'm operatic singer, classical singer, and then I'm just gonna belt the, you know, I love when singers can be so much in control of their voice and at the same time they can let go so much of their voice. She's just letting go and at the same time she knows exactly what she's doing and everything sounds perfect the way it is. Like, you know, it how hard it is to be so much in control that you can actually lose control. This is what she's doing here. This is how good she is. And that ending, oh my god, drove me crazy. That was the most anticlimactic ending I've ever heard. And it's actually perfect. And it's a great, great arranging idea because she's taking you all the way up there, right? Giving everything, belting, pouring her heart into the song, so much emotion, so many dynamics, this full orchestra, the choir, the arrangement, everything grows. There's this huge crescendo, and then you have those three hits, dun dun dun, which usually are leading into a big da-da ending. And then what does she do? She drops everything with the softest possible delivery. She just finishes the song with a da-da-dun piano chord, leaving you just hanging like that.
On Nightingale
I'm expecting.
Lane.
It actually makes so much sense because this is what the song is about. The song is about loving with everything you have and giving it all to somebody and then being left alone and losing everything, and it's about the sadness of it and being left with nothing, and it's exactly what she's doing here, right? She's taking you there and then that's how it ends, the same way the love story ended. I think it's brilliant. I think, you know, it just leaves you hanging. It leaves you without a release of your emotion. You still going through everything. When she ends it that way, you're like, wait, what happened? We're not resolving anything. We're not ending in the way we're supposed to end with a epic finale. Nope. Done. And we're like, damn. Well, guys, this was awesome, even beyond what I was expecting from Raye, which, as I said, I think she's one of the best singers of our generation. But this is such high level in every ways, composition wise, vocal performance wise, the arrangement, the orchestra, everything about it is so epic. It's so high quality. The vintage sounding elements, the classic rhythm and blues with classical music elements blended together. It's so traditional and at the same time it's also modern and contemporary because her vocals are fresh. I loved it. Whew, I feel like I feel like I need to lie down after watching this performance. It was absolutely incredible. Well, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of Raye. Let me know what you think of this live performance, of all the elements that we discussed about. Let me know if I forgot something. Let me know everything in the comments. If you liked this video, please give me a thumb up and subscribe I'll see you soon with another reaction and vocal analysis. Thank you for watching. This is Marco. Let's talk about singing. Ciao.